American public schools versus British public schools. This is going to be very interesting. With that being said, was smoking all my dragons, divine righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking. And we about to figure out the big difference between American versus British public schools. And yeah, hopefully I don't get embarrassed, being American. But with that being said, let's do it.
You called Mr. Bell a bellend and a pervert?
Yeah. No, you are. Yeah. What's this? What's this? Oh, I'm going out. Interventions. And I think, oh, WTF. Can I get a chance to talk? Miss, can I just tell you? I'm sorry to hear that your grandma passed away. I actually am. Like, obviously, I'm gonna be upset about that, yeah.
No, miss.
How dare you speak to me like that? Turn around!
Come here. Come here. Come here. No. Come here now. Come here now. Get there.
Suck your mom.
But what the hell, boy?
I don't know, like, if they're being serious, but if they are, I don't know what principal think he just gonna be yelling at somebody like that. Like, any teacher, anything. No, not gonna happen over here, ever.
Oh my goodness.
That's usually what happens, in the public schools I went to. Yeah, you're not just going, and I respect teachers, but if you one of those, if you think you're just gonna bully, you're gonna come in with a bunch of kids that you haven't built a relationship with yet, and you just gonna kind of bully your way in and be like this drill sergeant, then that never turns out good. You gotta come with a certain understanding. Now, I don't agree with ever disrespecting elders or teachers. So if they're just plain out disrespectful, then that's not right. I always stood against that. But at the same time, a teacher has to, you have a job to do, and that's, you have to understand the students so you can help them. They're developing mentally, and there's all type of stuff that goes into that, whether it's abuse at home or maybe not enough attention at home. So you have to take those things on and realize that when you talk to these kids, can't just talk to them anyway. Can't come bullying them if they're already being bullied at home or something, because then they're gonna mess around and it's gonna become violent or something. So that's really what I'm saying. Don't just be. I don't think any teacher or principal, whatever, should take that stance of like a drill sergeant unless you're at an alternative school for kids who are bad in a sense, really, or do bad things. Like that. Like that kid needs to calm down.
To be honest, if we're talking about public schools, British schools and American schools are quite similar, but different, if you get what I mean. The law is quite similar, and the types of students and teachers and the things that be going on in school are quite similar. But some of you students in the US get confused with the differences, as there are some key differences from each territory. One difference is the grading system. The Brit and American grading system can be a bit confusing. So allow me to briefly explain what it is. So your school journey starts at the age of 3, and at age 3 to 4 you go to nursery in both the US and the UK. At age 4 to 5 in the US you go to preschool, but in the UK you go to reception. Yes, why the fuck would us Brits call preschool reception? But that shit ain't my fault. Go ask the motherfucker that invented it. Anyways, age 5 to 6 you're at kindergarten, but here in the UK you're in year 1. So from year 1 to year 6, you feel it's primary school in the UK. However, in the US, from 1st grade to 5th grade, you finish elementary or primary school. And you might be asking, why don't we have both UK and US grading systems in the same years? Why is the UK a grade above? Because instead of your US motherfuckers naming age 5 to 6 1st grade, y'all really decided to name it kindergarten. Like, why? Makes no sense. Anyways, after you finish primary school, in the US, you start middle school, and
no comment, because a lot of things make no sense with America, with how we do things. So I no comment.
You're in 6th grade at this time. Then you finish middle school after 8th grade. After that, you start high school in 9th grade or freshman year, and finish and graduate high school after the 12th grade or senior year. Then if you want to go to,
he's got it about right. every school is somewhat different. Like you can find schools that do things a little different. It really depends on the size of the county, the district. And then like I know in the older days it was a little different too on how they did that grading system.
Want to go to college, you use your GPA or you take the SAT. To briefly explain what a GPA and SAT are for my audience not from the US, a GPA means grade point average. It can be calculated on a yearly basis or for your whole course as a whole. All your assignments, tests, work you've done is all added up and calculated throughout the year to get a grade point. And the SAT is a test or an exam taken to go to college, pretty much. Get it? Capiche? Obrigado. In the UK, you start secondary school in year 7 and you finish secondary school all the way up to year 11. Yes, I don't know why we call it years, but if I'm being honest, I'd rather call it years than grade. Why would you call it grade? Why would you call a whole thing that you mark your test with a whole year? Just call it year. Stop calling it grade. That's some bozo ass shit. But anyways, in year 11, you take your final exam you've been preparing for since year 7. That's almost 4 years. These exams are called GCSEs or IGCSEs. After you finish that, you go to further education for the course you have chosen to do in year 11. For example, courses like history, art, languages, religious studies, computer science, whatever. Further education in the UK is called sixth form or college, and you're in year 12 and 13 or junior and senior years there. Then you finish school and choose wherever you want to go to higher education like university or not. In the UK, we have half terms or calendar terms, and in the US, they call them terms semesters. Now, when you guys watch another school video, you won't be confused if a UK YouTuber or a US YouTuber is talking about
Garfield is the #1 movie in the world.
He's definitely on point. I ain't hear him say nothing wrong yet.
And you will know exactly what they're talking about in proportion to the countries. Get it? Thank me later. Anyways, we're going to be talking about middle and high school and secondary school in particular. The students in the US have the freedom to wear their own clothes. However, in the UK, we have to wear school uniforms. And hell, school uniforms are taken very seriously over here in the UK. If you miss any school uniform, like your blazer, don't button up your high collar, loose tie, sag your trousers, or bring anything that's not black school shoes, prepare to get crucified by the teacher. And to be honest, I'm not even mad that you can't even wear your own clothes in English schools, because it's a hassle to choose the best clothes, and you don't want to be the guy that is known for wearing the same clothes over and over again. That's just long. Plus, my closet is so mid, so I would rather wear a school uniform. It's easy to pick out and wear, and no one can judge you because they are wearing the same thing. It's a win-win. It's cool that some of you can be wearing your own clothes, but tell me why some of you guys wear the most silliest garbage to school. Like, motherfuckers be wearing pajamas, skirts, maid outfits, suits with shorts or some shit. And the emo girls and the city girls are literally a different story. I can't even lie to you. That's for a whole nother video. And the shoes y'all be wearing should be a sin in the 10 commandments or some shit. Like, how y'all unironically go into your closets, pick and wear some trash and think it was a good idea to go to school? Like, y'all definitely need your parents to start dressing y'all again or something.
Listen, I ain't never wore nothing like that, so I can't relate. I can't relate. I don't know.
But these are some of the people in the stretching. Obviously, some of y'all kind of dress relatively well. In the UK, if some motherfuckers misbehaving or straight up being a menace in class or outside of class, there are levels to the punishment depending on their offense. Level 1, you get a warning. Level 2, they scream their lungs out of you. Level 3, you get a detention. Level 4, you get something called isolation. The real rebels and the menaces that have no regard to life go in these isolation. To briefly explain what isolation is, it's basically a discipline where you get removed out of class and go to a certain booth room where it's just
in US we call that in-school detention.
It's yourself, your work, and teachers watching your every move and seeing if you're doing work or not. Just think of it as in a prison where you're an inmate in your cell and guards are watching what you do. Then the final level is a suspension. In the US, it's the same thing pretty much. The only difference is that they don't have isolation. You get suspended and excluded depending on the offense.
We got OSS, out of school suspension. We got ISS, in school suspension. We got after school detention. Before school detention in some places. Lunch detention. So yeah, we definitely we got some. Then if you get expelled, like I said, then you're gonna go to one of the bad schools, which you're liable to be in there with kids that are in juvenile hall, certain juvenile hall facilities to take those kids and bus them there too. So yeah, it just depends, but we definitely have all that.
Apparently, physical punishments are legal in some states. That's kind of wild to me, I can't even lie. Like, imagine getting your ass beat because your dog ate your homework. I thought that only existed in Africa because me personally, I went to school in Ghana, and if you misbehave in any way, just know that you're in for the whoopings of your life. I ain't gonna cap with you, bruv. It's gonna be absolutely long for you. In the UK, school lunches were decent. The canteen at least made somewhat of an effort to make the student meal nice and digestible. Students in the UK would always look forward to a school lunch. Like as soon as the class finished, these motherfuckers would leave the class and sprint straight out of class to the canteen just to be in the canteen line early. Because if you were last, your favorite food would have run down and you would have to settle for the garbage. Like these motherfuckers would sprint to the cafeteria with speed on power Sonic or this motherfucker. In the US, from what I've seen, school lunches is some of the worst foods I've ever seen served to students in history. I mean, look at this. This shouldn't be allowed of any sort. Whose idea was it to be serving this garbage? If school chefs are serving this, they must really...
Alright, listen. Even though this is true, there's truth to this for sure. I gotta speak up and say, it depends on where you are. It really does. Like, I'm from upstate New York, and you tend to get a little bit more you get finer foods. You know, upstate New York, that's really where all the farms are. You know, you get better quality food. When I would go to lunch, we'd have all type of choices. I mean, you got the salad, you know, the salad was good. Chicken salads, you got this, pizza. I mean, you got just so much different choices. You had 2 different cafeterias. I went to a pretty cool school. Same high school I went to is the same one that UFC fighter John Jones went to. You know, same town. He'll tell you the same thing. We ate pretty good. You know, so it definitely, it ain't all public schools. It really just depends on where you're located.
Despise their jobs and despise the students there. Like, what the hell is this? What is it? I can't lie, full sorry for you guys in the US, because if they did this...
Because I promise you, y'all go to my high school, I went to Union Endicott High School. Y'all go to my high school, y'all gonna eat good. Y'all gonna eat good. So I ain't never had... I can't tell you what it's like to have meals like... That's like jail. I don't...
Foolishness in the UK. I would personally deport myself back to Africa because at least they made some good and ready cooked meals. Then when you finally finish school after years, been about damn time. In the US, you graduate high school. There's a ceremony to commemorate the work you did in high school. The seniors will receive their high school diplomas and the class president will give out a graduation speech. But from what I've seen, some of these speeches are one of the most awkward but funniest pieces of non-fiction I've ever watched. Imagine if the types of students like the depressed kid or the menaced kid had a graduation speech. Like, motherfucker, I will pay to watch that shit, man. Motherfuckers did crazy shit in the ceremony, as well as like, how do you have the balls to do this? Graduation also includes...
This guy loves saying mother effer.
gift, and the best of all, the grad parties. Did y'all ever go to grad parties? Let me know down in the comments down below. Compared to the UK, when we finished year 11, aka 10th grade, and our GCSE, we basically finished secondary school and we have an assembly of awards for the students who did their best. Stuff like subjects, good behavior, who did the most work, ECT, and then a final thank you and goodbye, some wholesome stuff. After the assembly, we celebrate after the school, signing the shirts with boards and pens, writing heartwarming messages like good luck and stuff. Like, I can't even lie, this was one of the most wholesome stuff I've ever done as a celebration of finishing school ever. And of course, the best thing about finishing secondary school was prom. Prom was definitely my favorite part of finishing. Yeah, the party happened at night. The parties were like raves. The DJs were playing classic house songs. Everyone ate and danced. It was too late. Unfortunately, I did not have a prom date, but I still took these cool photos of the girls. Oh, I'm just that guy, G. Too much risk. You know that. Overall, which one is better, American high school or British high school? I will answer this with no bias, and we'll be choosing which one is better based on 5 different categories: overall enjoyment, education, food, the students and the teachers. In terms of the food, the UK wins by 1 point because I don't have to repeat myself again with how low effort and straight out garbage the food is in an American high school. Now, over enjoyment, I've not been to an American high school before, so I can't really speak on that. so I'll give 1 point to both schools. For the education system, we all have to agree that UK schools are better. Most of you are in the US, therefore know damn well you don't pay attention to those boring ass classes. In the UK, they at least make them somewhat engaging. In terms of the people, therefore 1 point to the American high schools. I don't need to go to the US to know that people in American high schools are very vibrant and social, and they just have way more character to them. Motherfuckers in the UK are just mid, including myself. I was the most quiet and the most boring yes man in my school. I didn't speak unless I was spoken to, and I just did what my teachers told me to do. I was literally just the biggest NPC. The only thing that was interesting about me was that I was just naturally goofy, and I looked like celebrities like Lil Nas X or footballers like Bukayo Saka or Samuel Umtiti. That's what everyone told me. But I digress. Teachers in UK schools are very strict as they care about your education. But obviously, not all of them care about your education. And I do not know how the teachers are in an American school, so I will give 1 point to both schools for the teachers. So British schools have the most points overall, so
that's fair.
Pretty much British high school wins. No biasness, just the facts. So let me know if you want me to do a part 2 of this video. I appreciate if you like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, have a good day, love.
So I personally feel like I would expect UK to be better schooling wise. I would public schools. US public schools are pretty wild. But like I said, not all of them. Not all of them. You know, US is, you gotta remember, we talk about the US, we're talking about a big, big place. US is big. So it's hard to generalize every public school. Yeah, we tend to hear about so much horror stories or this and that, but when it comes to the quality of, like I said, like food and not everybody eating like it's some jail meal, that's for sure. I'll tell you that right now. So that was I would go as far as saying that's pretty false. You know, you would really have to, I guess, maybe in some inner city school or something, or but no, not no. Mm-mm. I ain't never had a meal like that, and I've been to many schools, many schools. Like that's just the truth. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, other than that, it was a pretty good video. Yeah, it just depends. It depends, man. I would want to hear from somebody that truly went to an American public school and a public school, or teach that in an American public school in a British public school, that really truly lived day to day, you know, for a couple months or years, and really seen the difference there. I would definitely want to hear their opinion, because then I feel like that's the only way it could truly be unbiased, right? If someone hasn't truly experienced both. And the areas do matter. It can't be the hood. It can't be, you know, it has to be a decent neighborhoods in both. And that's how I feel, to even that out as much as possible. But with that being said, that was American versus British public schools. Let me know what you think in the comments. Original link will be in the description, and I'll be back with more soon. Also, all you teens out there, all you youngins out there, definitely respect your teachers. You know, definitely. If you have a teacher that is a bully, obviously, you know, y'all get together, y'all do something about that. Y'all talk to your parents, y'all talk to the superintendent, whatever y'all got to do. But if you have a teacher who's really just trying, get this, do not be trying to bully your teachers, and don't do that. All right, try to understand your teachers, try to respect them, try to respect the elders. They matter, right? They say when an elder dies, a library is burned down. So remember that. With that being said, much love.